All right, today we're going to dive into a question that's, well, at the very core of what it means to live a good life.
I mean, really think about it. What is the absolute peak for a human being? What does that even look like? Is it being super wise? Is it some kind of enlightenment? Or is it just total, absolute freedom? To get us started, let's look at a pretty cool idea from a scholar who used poetry to kind of map out the whole journey.
So, there was this brilliant scholar, Wang Goavi, back in the early 20th century. He suggested that the path to this higher state of being happens in 3 clear stages. And what's really neat is that he found a line from classical poetry that perfectly captures each one.
Okay, so this first quote, this is realm number 1. This is the beginning. It's that feeling of looking around and realizing something is missing. It's about climbing up high, all alone, and just staring out at the horizon, trying to find a path, a real purpose that you can pour your entire life into. This is the seeking stage.
And once you've found that path, you move from seeking to doing. This is the second realm, the grind, the relentless pursuit. It's when you're working so hard, pouring every bit of yourself into that goal, that your clothes literally start to feel looser. But you don't care. You have zero regrets because you're completely dedicated. This is the struggle. And then, after all that searching and all that striving, you get here, the final realm. And the funny thing is, the breakthrough doesn't come from pushing even harder. Nope. It's sudden. It's quiet. It's almost an accident. You just happen to turn around, and the thing you were desperately looking for, it's just there, waiting for you in a dimly lit corner. That's the moment you finally arrive. Now, this poetic journey is a beautiful map, for sure. But it's not the only one. The ancient masters had their own ideas, often a bit more structured, for how to reach that very same peak. Let's see how their answers stack up. Confucius, for example, saw life as the steady climb toward inner peace. He said by 30, you found your place. By 40, you're not so confused anymore. By 50, you get the big picture. You understand the will of heaven. But the ultimate goal, that comes at 70. You can finally just follow your heart, and you don't even have to worry about doing the wrong thing because your heart is so in tune with the right way to live. Now that's freedom. Then you have someone like the poet Tao Yuanming, who had a totally different take. For him, the highest realm wasn't about some grand philosophical journey. It was about getting back to basics, back to nature. His ideal was simple: work the land, live by the sun and moon, and find deep, profound peace in a single quiet moment, like just looking at a mountain while holding a flower. Okay, so we've got poems, we've got life stages, but what if we think of this whole thing like climbing a ladder of consciousness? It turns out lots of different traditions from both the East and the West have come up with frameworks that look a lot like that. And this is just fascinating. Check out the parallels here. Taoism sees it as moving from the messy earth realm up to the heaven realm. Buddhism talks about moving past our everyday sensory desires to a state of pure consciousness. And Zen? Well, Zen uses these beautiful images, right? You start by seeing the falling leaves, just the traces of reality, and you move all the way to becoming one with the ageless sky. Different words, but a very similar climb. Now let's switch gears and look at how the West approaches this. You've probably heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It might not sound spiritual, but look at the pattern. You have to take care of the basics first: food, safety, love. You can't even think about reaching the top, what he called self-actualization, until all those lower rungs on the ladder are secure. It's another path to a higher state. So, after taking in all these incredible historical and philosophical maps, the author of our source text kind of brings it all together and proposes their own modern version, a really practical guide for what this highest realm could look like for us today. And this isn't some vague pie-in-the-sky idea. The author lays out 8 very specific conditions for what it takes to get there. So let's break them down. The first 4 are all about freedom from things. No debt means you don't owe anyone anything, financially or emotionally. No worries means you're not constantly stressed about survival. No desires means you're not being yanked around by wanting this or needing that. And it all leads to this incredible state of no contention, where you just stop fighting with reality. You let the world be the world. So if the first 4 are about freedom from things, these next 4 are about the freedom to be. This is where you feel that oneness with the Tao, like you're just in sync with the universe. You experience abundant wealth in every sense, not just money, but in spirit and mind. You have this deep down certainty that your future is secure. And finally, you're just solid. You stand for your principles like a mountain.
To really get that idea of no contention, the author shares this incredible poem. Think about it. A swan lands on the snow. It leaves a little footprint, sure, but then it just flies away. It's not worried about the mark it left or where it's going next. It just moves on. That's the kind of unattached freedom we're talking about here.
Okay, so we've looked at all these paths, poetic, philosophical, practical, but that brings us to the big so what question. Why does any of this even matter? What is the actual point of trying to reach a higher realm?
Well, the author gives us a really clear and powerful definition. Your realm isn't about what you have or what you've achieved. It's about your inner altitude. It's the height of your spirit and soul. It's literally the quality and the value of your entire life reflected from the inside out. And when you think about it that way, the difference between living with a high realm and, well, not, it's like night and day. One path leads to a life of dignity, of elegance. The other is kind of vulgar and crass. But the most crucial difference is right there. One path gives you spiritual freedom, while the other keeps you trapped by all the stuff in the world.
And that's really what it all boils down to. That's the grand prize. The higher the realm you can reach, the more spiritual and mental freedom you get to experience. Every single step up that ladder, whichever one you choose to climb, is another step toward being truly free. So, we end up right back where we started, but now the question is, for you. We've seen the maps left by poets and sages and modern thinkers. After all of that, what does your highest realm look like? What's the peak that you're climbing towards?